$10 billion, castles in Germany, a wife, 2 children, 75,000 employees under his command. On April 7, 2018, he steps off a cable car on a Swiss mountain, alone, with skis, a small backpack. A security camera films him for 4 seconds. Then he's gone. No body, no skis, no trace, nothing. 5 helicopters search for 6 days. They find nothing. Today, I'll tell you his story. But this isn't really about him. This is about you. Because if a man with $10 billion can vanish on a mountain, what does that say about the rest of us? Listen to me. Rome fell. The Ottomans fell. Empires that ruled for 1,000 years became dust. And if Rome can fall, a billionaire can fall. You can fall. The only question is when. His name was Karl-Erivan Haub, and his story will teach you everything they never taught you about money. Tacoma, Washington. 1960. A baby is born, American passport, German blood. His father, Erivan, is already a billionaire. He moved his family across the ocean during the Cold War because he was afraid the Soviets were coming for his money. Remember that detail. The Russians. We're coming back to them. The Haub family owned Tengelmann Group. If you grew up in Germany, you bought your bread from Tengelmann. Your milk, your soap, a retail empire built brick by brick over 100 years. Karl-Erivan went to St. Gallen, the best business school in Switzerland. Then his father handed him the keys to the kingdom. For 20 years, Karl-Erivan ran Tengelmann. Forbes said he was worth $5 billion. The company was worth 10. He had everything. The mansions, the respect, a trainer who said he was careful, methodical, obsessive about details, not a man who took risks. Now stop. This is where most people get the story wrong. People look at Karl-Erivan and they think, he made it. The game is over, but the game is never over. The game never ends. You either play it well, or you stop playing and the game plays you. You ever played Monopoly with somebody who was winning? Stacks of cash. Hotels everywhere. He looks unstoppable. Then 3 bad rolls. He lands on the wrong square, can't pay, and the same man who was winning is out of the game. That's real life. That's exactly how it works. When a poor man falls, he falls 1 foot. When a billionaire falls, he falls from the top of a mountain. And Karl-Erivan was about to fall. Here's what most people don't know. While he was running Tengelmann, he was making phone calls to Russia, many phone calls, to a woman named Veronika Ermolova, 44 years old, from St. Petersburg. On paper, she ran a small event planning agency. In reality, investigators believe she may have been working for the FSB, Russian intelligence, the successor to the KGB. For 10 years, Karl-Erivan and Veronika crossed paths. Moscow, Sochi, the same overnight train from Moscow to St. Petersburg in 2009. Booked at the same time. Same place, separate compartments. She traveled to Moscow the day before just to take the train back home. Tell me that makes sense. In the last 3 days before he vanished, he called her 13 times. Some calls over an hour long, and she wasn't his only Russian contact. He was talking to Sergei Grishin. They called him the Scarface oligarch because he owned the actual mansion from the 1983 Al Pacino movie. The same Grishin who later sold Harry and Meghan their California home, and he was calling Andrei Suzdaltsov, a Russian banker whose bank was used to wash millions of dollars out of Russia. These are not the phone calls of a German grocery store executive. So ask yourself, you have $10 billion. You have everything. Why are you on the phone with Russian intelligence? Here's what I think. He was playing a bigger game. A game where Russia was the table, money was the chips, and the rules nobody told you about could swallow you whole. Then, in March 2018, his father died. Exactly 1 month later, Karl-Erivan went to Switzerland to train for a ski race. He went up Klein Matterhorn alone. His trainer said going up alone was completely out of character. He didn't ski alone, he didn't take stupid risks. He was the most cautious man in the Alps. But that morning, he did. 5 helicopters, 6 days, specialized rescue teams. They found nothing, no body, no skis, not one piece of fabric, not one drop of blood. The mountain just, swallowed him. Or did it? 3 years pass, May 2021. A German court declares him legally dead. His younger brother Christian swears under oath he has no evidence Karl-Erivan is still alive. With that one sentence, Christian inherits the empire. 75,000 employees, all of it. But here's what Christian didn't tell the court. 2 months earlier, investigators hired by Tengelmann itself had obtained 2 photographs in Moscow. A man who looked exactly like Karl-Erivan Haub. Biometric facial analysis. 99% match, 2 separate experts. The company Karl-Erivan used to run hired the investigators. The investigators got the photos. The photos matched his face with 99% certainty. 2 months later, his brother stood in court and said, "I have no evidence." That brother is now the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar empire. So now you ask yourself, did Karl-Erivan Haub die on a mountain? Or did he walk down that mountain into a waiting car into a new life with a Russian woman who may have been a spy? Now stop. Think with me. What does this story actually teach you? Because I told you in the beginning, this isn't really about Karl-Erivan. Money is not what you think it is. Money is not a thing you own. Money is a game you play, and every game has a clock and every game ends. You can be the richest man in the room. You can have $10 billion and you can still lose everything on a single morning, on a single mountain, because of a single phone call. Why do rich people fall? Not because they were poor. Rich people fall from one thing: bad bets, the wrong woman, the wrong friend, trusting partners who are smiling while they hold the knife, lending money to people who never pay back, spending on parties nobody remembers. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It matters what you do with it. The man who makes $10,000 a month and saves $2,000 will be richer in 10 years than the man who makes $1 million a month and spends $1 million. That's the lesson. That's the whole game. The history books are full of these stories. Rome ruled half the world. It fell. Too much spending. Wrong generals. Slow rot. The Ottomans ruled 3 continents for 600 years. They fell. Always the same reasons. Always. If Rome can fall, if the Ottomans can fall, then a billionaire can fall. You can fall, I can fall. The question is never whether you'll fall. The question is whether you'll see it coming. Karl-Erivan didn't see it coming. Or maybe he did, and he planned the perfect escape. We may never know. Here's what we know. Officially, he is dead. Christian Haub has not been charged. The death certificate has not been revoked. But somewhere, possibly in a Moscow apartment, someone who looks 99% like Karl-Erivan Haub may still be drinking his morning coffee, and he might be smiling, because he understood something most rich people never understand. The game doesn't end when you're rich. The game ends when you stop playing. And he didn't stop playing. He just changed the table. Now ask yourself, if you had $10 billion, could you keep it? Could you really? Or would the same forces that destroyed Rome, destroyed the Ottomans, destroyed Karl-Erivan, also destroy you? That's the real question. Because every empire falls, every kingdom falls, every billionaire falls. The only question is when. I'm Billion to Zero. Subscribe. Because next week, the man who lost $40 billion in 6 weeks. One phone call, 6 weeks, 40 billion gone. Every empire falls. The question is, will you?